guys, it's Crystal and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I thought I would talk about my creative process. As I mentioned in my very first video introducing my channel and in my college reflection video, I recently graduated from the University of Iowa with a bachelor's degree in cinema, meaning I got a Bachelor of Arts in film production, and just anything and everything to do with film-based stuff. But during my time at the University of Iowa, I took some screenwriting classes. I am a writer, I do enjoy writing, but I learned how to write a script for the very first time. When it comes to writing, I only do like journal writing, personal writing. I never really done script writing until I took these classes. So I thought I would make this video to show my creative process, but my creative process for writing a script. So first and foremost, I thought I would identify what screenwriting is. So screenwriting, as it says in the name, is writing for a screen. So writing for a movie or writing for a TV show, also known as a script, and has a different format in comparison to, say, like writing a novel or writing an article for a magazine or for a newspaper or writing an article for an online magazine or a blog or so on and so forth. Screenwriting is very, very, very different. Screenwriting, the way I learned and to shorten it, is basically a shortened form, and is short, sweet, and to the point that gets into detail and dialogue. There's very limited amount of description. Where you think of a novel, you go into like depths and details on, like, you know, what a character is like, what they're wearing, their environment. In a script, you get more kind of like shortened paragraphs where a detail or a description can be no longer than probably like 3 to 5 sentences long, if not shorter. And there's dialogue as well too, because when you think about it, a script is just mainly what you will see on camera. A script is just the dialogue and with bits and pieces of descriptive stuff. And then when you go in to record it, you hear the dialogue and then you see what the script has in the description. I really hope that makes sense. And also, a page is equivalent to a minute on screen. Although sometimes that may or may not be true, but that is also something that I learned, that one whole page is 1 minute to equivalent of screen time. And there are scripts that can be, say, like 120 pages, which will be a movie of 120 minutes long. The script that I worked on while I was at the university is 90 pages long, so doing that whole 1 minute or one page is 1 minute of screen, my film would be 90 minutes or an hour and a half long. As a writer, it can be hard to find inspiration for writing. I've gone through many dry spells, many writer's block where it's hard for me to sit down and write something, but I try to find inspiration anywhere. That's how I get my ideas, whether I personal write, whether I do like small writing prompts that I find online, or I can sometimes find inspiration on social media. The scripts that I worked on while I was at the university was an idea that I found on TikTok, and I basically just asked myself a question, and that sparked up the inspiration for my script, the whole idea for my script. To sum up what my script is about, it takes place in like a dystopian future almost, where the government is in control of people's love life. They assign people who they are going to marry. Basically, they are in charge of people's soulmates, and the people in my universe find out who their soulmates are on their 21st birthday, and it's always the youngest one. So say the oldest one already turned 21 and he doesn't get his or her number, they have to wait until the youngest one of the pair gets the number, and then they get notified on the distance. And also, talking about the distance aspect, the way the government controls this is by giving the youngest of the pair the distance between each other. So someone can be, say, like 100 miles away, someone can be 500 miles away, someone can be as far as like across the country away. And also, my script takes place in like a dystopia America. The government in this universe controls love, controls who each person gets to marry and gets to spend the rest of their life with. And my main character, she gets assigned to, and her best friend have to go and find these men and figure out why she got 2 numbers instead of 1, and why she gets to pick. So after I get inspiration, after I have found something that has given me like that spark to write and get creative, I make sure I write things down, whether that's on my phone or in a notebook. I have to write it down so that way I don't forget. And just like how I shared with you guys, I basically just ask a question, I write down the question, and then from that question will stem just the plot of my story and my characters of my story. While I was working on this script, obviously I was in school, so I had to follow some of the stuff that my professors would give me, the instructions that my professors would give me. So the instructions that my professors would give me, obviously I'm going to continue using as well. So while I was at the university, I had to write a tagline or a logline. A tagline or a logline is basically a 1 or 2 sentence summary of the script to capture the attention of the audience. So just think back to some of like the movies or books that you've read, and sometimes in the front it'll have kind of like a let me find a book, hold on. Kind of like this book, like right up here where it says he was supposed to be a myth. That would be considered like a tagline or a logline to grab your attention and to want you to go see that movie or go read that book. A tagline or a logline is something that is supposed to sum up the film or book and grab your attention for you to want more. So now that I have everything written down, now that I have a tagline and a logline, it's time to get into my characters and get into their backstories. What I try to do is I try to think of names of characters. And the way that I do this is I usually just go on Google and I try to pick a character name that I believe fits my character. Sometimes it's not the best way because it can take a little while to look for a good name, but it's worked for me. For my script, my main character's name is Isabella. I knew I wanted to have my main character have like a really like a feminine name, but also like a powerful name, and also a name that can be shortened, have a nickname for it to be shortened and for it to be a nickname. But also I wanted her to have a name that was fitting for a Hispanic Latin character. I'm Hispanic, I'm Latin, I'm Mexican, so most, if not all, the characters that I write about tend to be Latin, Mexican, Hispanic, all the above. So I wanted a name for my main character to be of Latin base or Hispanic base, Mexican base. I wanted to be Spanish. So once I get a name, then I'm able to write down, their background, write down their ethnicity, their likes, their dislikes, what they look like on the outside, what their personality is like, even what their family is like too. I like to give my main characters some like family members, whether that's them being the oldest sibling. Well, actually more than half the time, my characters tend to be the oldest sibling because I am the oldest sibling and I only know of my experience. So I like to give my main characters some siblings because I relate to that. And then when it comes to writing other characters, I tend to write about, say, say like my friends that I have, but obviously I would change up the names, change up the personalities. Whether or not I give them siblings or not is all up to me. But more than half the time, I tend to write about people around me, people who I know. I like to implement people that I know in my life into my stories to make it more interesting and for it to be a little bit more easier to write about. Now, with a script, there comes these things called treatments. There's a short treatment and a long treatment. Short treatment is where you sum up what each act is about. In a script and in movies, there are 3 acts: beginning, middle, and end. So for treatment, I have to summarize, the beginning, summarize the middle, and summarize the end. In a long treatment, I still get to summarize it, but more in detail, more in length, get to go more in depth on like what the character is going, what their situation is about, and just get into like the nitty gritty of what the script is about. A short and a long treatment is basically the main points of what is going to happen in the script and in the order that it's going to happen. But there are some times where it doesn't always happen in that order. And so talking about order and talking about how things will play out in a script, I'm a visual person. I like seeing things visually. So what helped me out a lot to write my script while I was at school was writing stuff down in note cards. This whole pile right here, all this is information for my script, and I have it separated by acts. So this little pile right here, this is the first act. This is act 1. This massive pile right here is act 2, and then act 3. And so what helps with this is that I am able to visually see the different acts, and also I'm able to move things around a little bit more and just rearrange things to make it make sense. While I was working on my script, while I was at school, having this visual aspect helped me out a lot. I was able to see what was missing, and I was able to rearrange things to make my script better. Obviously, my script is only on a first draft and I have a lot of editing to do, but having everything down on note cards and being able to physically see them helps out a lot. And a way that you can physically see them is I had this big empty wall right here, and I had a big empty wall in my room back at school. I was able to tape these note cards and I was able to look at them while I was writing. So definitely use either index cards or sticky notes to visually see what you're writing. And now that I have everything, my tagline, logline, my characters and their backstories, my short treatment, long treatment, everything on index cards and everything taped on my wall, I was finally able to sit down and start typing. And so, like I mentioned earlier, screenwriting has a whole different format, but once you get into the rhythm of it and once you have more practice in it, you'll get the hang of it. And I use this website called Celtx, which is a screenwriting website. It's free unless you want to have full access to it. I'm pretty sure you have to pay for it, but I use the free version of it, and I'm able to type my script and just work on it, and it saves your progress as you go, and you're able to go back to it and pick up where you left off. And like I mentioned, my script is 90 pages long. It's only a first draft. I still have a lot of editing to do with it, and I hope it doesn't take me another 1.5 years to get through a second draft, but who knows how long it's going to take me to work on this script. This script I started back in 2020 and I finished it December of 2021. This is my very first script, and once I get it edited, once I get at least maybe 2 or 3 drafts, I am going to submit it to a film contest, and hopefully it wins and I get it made into a movie. If not, I can obviously save it, and sometime in the near future I can direct it myself and bring it to life. With that being said, that is my creative process for writing a script. Obviously, like I always mention, not one size fits all. So these are just my tips and what I do and what I learned while I was at a university. I hope for those of you who are writers, whether you write books or whether you write scripts, I hope this was helpful for all of you. Please leave me a like and a comment down below. Let me know if you guys are writers, whether you write novels or you write scripts. Let me know what you guys write about. I would love to hear some of your guys' ideas. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Bye!